Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Young here, and today I'm back in our Fortnite video. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys the best settings and sensitivities to use if you guys want to have the best aim possible, because I haven't made one of these videos since the recent change with the aim assist. It was about a week ago, but I haven't made a video since, so I'm going to show you guys the best settings to aim with. So if you are struggling to improve your aim, definitely stay to the end of the video and give these settings a try, because these settings will help you guys improve your aim tenfold. And real quick, before we get into the video, I have a V-Buck giveaway. I give away 2,000 V-Bucks every single Friday. So if you guys want to take part in this giveaway and win some free V-Bucks, all you guys have to do is to drop a like on this video. Make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys do turn on post notifications so you guys get notified for every single new video and when I announce the winners. And lastly, leave a comment down below of either your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account, and you guys will be automatically entered into the next giveaway. And lastly, make sure you guys do support me in the item shop. All you guys have to do is go down to the bottom right, click on support a creator, type in creator code YoungHumor, and you guys will have me added and supported as a creator in the item shop. And alright guys, let's get to the video. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to show you guys in this video the best settings and sensitivities to use when it comes to aiming in Fortnite, because I haven't made a video since the recent aim assist change, but they only made, it was probably like 4 or 5 days ago, where they did buff aim assist quite a bit when it came to the long range, because before you really couldn't aim, so there had to been a couple sensitivity adjustments that I had to make. So these settings are going to be the best to aim with and to best to improve. So if you guys are struggling to aim, give these settings a try. And I also want to explain exactly what the settings that I have and exactly why I have them. So for my building and editing, I have it on a 2.3 and a 2.4 for my editing sense. And then for my look sensitivity, I have a 45% for the horizontal and a 44% for the vertical. Now, as I mentioned, these settings may not be the best for every single thing in the game, but for aiming, these settings are extremely good. And the reason why I have these settings specifically, so going into my building and editing, now one of the big things that I see a lot that I'll also explain in this video is I see a lot of people overcorrecting on their building and editing, meaning they're playing on too high of a building and editing sensitivity to the point where it's very hard for them to aim because they're overcorrecting on their edits. So for example, if they're going for an edit and they need to just make a simple wall edit, what they'll do is during the edit, they'll accidentally flick their crosshair all the way over to the side, meaning that to hit the other player, they have to go for like a crazy flick shot back the other direction, making it very hard to aim. So that's why, opposed to my regular sensitivity, I play on just a little bit lower building and editing, so you have a lot more control and you don't overcorrect as much on your builds and edits. And then I play on a 45 and a 44%, because with this sensitivity, it's very good for tracking. I'm able to aim very well with my SMG, my AR, and my shotgun close range. And unfortunately, they still don't have the charged shotgun yet in creative. I'm sure they'll add it pretty soon. But with the settings that I just showed you guys, I feel like these settings specifically have some of the best tracking from builds to edits and just going for close range shots. And just an example of what I mean by overcorrecting, and this can happen on builds or edits. So say you're building and you just want to build to the side, one thing that can happen is you can overcorrect and you accidentally flick your crosshair over too much, which can cause your aim to be all sorts of just out of place, meaning that if you want to go for the shot, you have to pretty much go for a crazy flick shot over back to the side, or the opposite direction of which you went, and it's just such a pain to deal with. And so the best way is just to play on a very comfortable building and editing sensitivity, even if it is a little bit lower than maybe you would want. Playing just a little bit lower building and editing sensitivity can really help you out in so many different ways, just because you're not going to be overcorrecting as much, meaning your aim is going to be close to the other player, and it's just going to be a much better time hitting your shots. So going into my ADS sensitivity, I play on either a 10% and 11% or a 9% and a 10%. Just depends on what you guys like the best. But one thing I noticed when it comes to tracking players who are maybe using launch pads, or maybe like going in a, up or down direction very quickly, one thing I did notice is you have to at least play on about a 9 to 10%. You can't go lower than 9% without having some issues tracking. I mean, you have to do like a give and take. If you play on like an 8%, for an ADS, you can be very good at long range, but if someone uses a launch pad, you're gonna have a very hard tracking the other player, because you're not gonna be able to move fast enough. So that's a sensitivity that I noticed. You don't want to play on anything lower than a 9, but I prefer not to go above a 12%, otherwise it's very hard to hit my shots. So my look dampening time, I did put it on a 0.04. Now this is a setting, if you guys don't like it at all, you can just turn it off, but a 0.04 just adds just a little bit more of a look damping time, which does help me improve my aim from distances quite a bit. And it's one of those settings that some people like, some people don't, so really just mess around with it and see what you guys think. But I do play it on a 0.04 look damping time. Like I said, I think it helps my aim when it comes to long ranges and also a little bit at close ranges and just in different scenarios. So that's why I play it with a little bit look damping time. It just kind of slows down my movement just a little bit, which makes it a lot easier to track other players when I play on specifically linear settings. It helps me out quite a bit. When I play an exponential, I really don't use it that much. Sometimes I do, but sometimes, or most of the time, I really don't, just because I don't feel like it's that necessary on exponential. But for linear settings, I do recommend just having just a little bit of a look damping time. I wouldn't go anything above like a 12 or even really above like a 10, because then at that point it just feels a little bit off. But putting just a little bit really can help improve your aim quite a bit when it comes to long range aiming, when it comes to medium range aiming with your SMG, and also can help you quite a bit when it comes to shotgunning at close ranges, just because it helps you track other players and it helps you really make those small analog stick adjustments that previously you may or may not been able to do. So just going into my bottom few settings that I want to show you guys for this video. So going into the bottom settings for my dead zones, what I have is a 10%. I usually play on like a 10 or 11% for my move stick dead zone. For me, I have a little bit of stick drift, so that's why I play on the dead zone that I do. Obviously, your dead zone really just depends on what you guys play. If you have a lot of stick drift, then you want to play on a higher dead zone. If you don't have any stick drift at all, then you'd want to play on a lower dead zone. So that's pretty much just how it works. And also, you would have the foot controller setting off. This adds input delay to your controller, so you don't have it on whatsoever. So those are all of the settings that I have that I think are going to give you guys the best aim possible when it comes to close range, long range, medium range, or anything in between. But one thing you will notice with a lot of my settings as far as best aim, as I do tend to play on the lower end for sensitivity, because this will give you way more control over your shots, way more control over your builds. And a lot of players might think that you need a high sensitivity to be able to hit flick shots, because some people say my sensitivity is a little bit too low because they like to go for a lot of flick shots in game. But the thing is, or the problem that I see a lot, is when it comes to flick shots, you really don't even have to be able to flick shot very much. You don't even need that high of a sensitivity. One thing that I see a lot of players do, or one of the biggest mistakes that players make that causes them to really think that they have to have a higher sensitivity for flick shots, it all comes down to your crosshair placement. So if you have bad crosshair placement, what can happen is it can cause you, and that's what I kind of mentioned earlier with the overcorrection. If you overcorrect a lot and you have bad crosshair placement, it's going to cause you to have to flick shot way more than necessary, which is going to affect your aim. And of course, at that point, you're going to have to play on a higher sensitivity to kind of, because if you overcorrect, you have to correct backwards to just be able to line up the shot. So if you're very deliberate on your builds, you're very deliberate on your edits, you're always making sure that you finish off the edit right next to the other player, meaning that after you edit, you only have to move your crosshair over slightly to be on the other player. If you do that, if you have very good crosshair placement and you're very deliberate with your builds and edits, you really don't have to have that high of a sensitivity for your X and Y. You can play on pretty low sensitivity and be just fine, just because you're going to be very, very accurate with your builds and your edits. And the good thing about crosshair placement or just practicing, it's one of those things that you just have to keep in mind. It's not one of those like crazy mechanics you have to like take like 1 week to learn. It's just one of those things that's muscle memory. So for crosshair placement, that just means keeping your shotgun, keeping your SMG or your AR at headshot height when you're rounding corners. When you're going for edits, making sure that your crosshair is near the other player, so you don't have to go for the craziest flick shot just to hit the other player after a build or edit. So just making your crosshair is in the best possible position going for shots. That is what crosshair placement is, and it's a very simple thing and a very simple technique that you guys can implement in your game that really does make a huge difference, and it doesn't take a long time to learn. It just takes you a little bit of just mental focus, just really realizing that you have bad crosshair placement and then trying to just work on it in game. That's going to be the best way to improve it. But with that being said, that's wrap it up for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys found this video helpful, make sure you guys do hit that like button. Make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Make sure you guys do hit that notification bell so you guys get notified for every single new upload. And as well, I do live stream every single day here on this channel at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you guys do come by my live streams if you guys haven't already. Or just slap on that post notifications so you guys will get notified when I go live on this channel. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys watching the video. And alright guys, I'll see you next video.